Sometimes a single job announcement can tell you everything you need to know about a company's grand plan. It's way more than just a new name on the letterhead. It's a massive signal about where they're headed. Today, we're going to unpack one of those key executive moves in the mortgage world that honestly points to a huge play for growth. All right, let's get into it.
So here's the headline. Logan Finance, which is a major player in a pretty specific corner of the mortgage universe, has just brought on a guy named Chuck Vaughn. His new title? Managing Director of Correspondent Lending. Now, on the surface, that sounds like your typical corporate news blast. But if you look just a little bit closer, you start to see the real strategy behind the handshake.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. I just threw a bunch of industry jargon at you. Non-QM mortgage lender, correspondent lending. These aren't exactly terms you hear every day. So, before we get into why this hire is such a big deal, let's just quickly break down the world that Logan Finance and now Chuck Vaughn are operating in.
First things first, Logan's specialty is what's called a non-QM mortgage. So QM stands for qualified mortgage, which is your standard, check all the boxes, super straightforward home loan. Non-QM loans are for pretty much everyone else. Think about freelancers, small business owners, people with really unique financial profiles. They're often great borrowers, but they just don't fit into that traditional rigid mold. And Logan has absolutely built its reputation serving that specific market.
Okay, so what about this correspondent lending department that Vaughn is now in charge of? Well, you can think of it as a business-to-business operation. You've got smaller, local lenders who work directly with home buyers to get them a loan. Then, a bigger company like Logan Finance comes in and buys a whole bunch of those loans from them. It's an incredibly powerful way for a company like Logan to grow its business and its portfolio, like really, really fast. So Vaughn is basically taking the wheel of a major growth engine for the company.
And you don't have to take my word for it. Logan's own leadership is being super clear about what they're doing. The company's COO, Aaron Samples, put it out there plain as day. They weren't just looking to fill a vacancy, they were actively hunting for a proven leader who could come in and drive this exact part of the business forward. That tells you this was a very deliberate, very strategic move.
So the big question is Vaughn the right guy for the job? Well, let's just take a quick look at his track record. Honestly, his career path looks like it was custom-made for this role. He's done time at major banking institutions like the Federal Home Loan Bank, he's had focused roles at Lincoln Savings Bank, and most importantly, his last stop was at a company called Spring EQ, where he was knee-deep in capital markets and correspondent sales.
And this right here is exactly why Logan wanted him. Remember that quote from the COO a second ago? He specifically called out correspondent sales and capital market execution as the skills they needed. Well, Vaughn's most recent job lines up perfectly with that. He hasn't just read about this stuff in a book, he has been living and breathing it. So, we've covered the what and the why. We've got the right person with the perfect background, joining a company that clearly has some big plans. But what exactly is he being asked to do? What does success actually look like in this new role for him?
Well, his to-do list is ambitious, to say the least. This is not a keep things running smoothly kind of job. He's there to oversee major strategic moves, to actively go out and grab more market share, to launch entirely new business channels, and to lead the growth of the entire operation. Every single item on this list is about one thing and one thing only: expansion.
And hearing from Vaughn himself just nails this point home. He said he was drawn to Logan because of its culture of execution. In other words, it's a place that actually gets things done. His own words are a perfect mirror of the company's goals. He's not just showing up for a paycheck, he has clearly bought into the mission and is fired up for what he calls the next phase of growth.
So when you put it all together, this hire is a really powerful statement. You have Logan Finance, a specialist in that non-QM space, bringing in a seasoned pro with a crystal-clear mission to aggressively grow its correspondent lending business. This is not just business as usual, and it really makes you wonder, are we watching a calculated play by Logan to not just compete, but to truly go out and dominate its corner of the mortgage world?